Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Global Card Collectors. It's Will again as host, and tonight I am with, I guess, one of the well-known card collectors in New Zealand. His name is Dan, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his story as a collector. So, Dan, I'm going to jump straight into it, mate.
Let's go.
Just tell us a little bit about your origin story, because you've told me it a couple of times, and I think you always undersell it a little bit, but I actually quite like it because you and I have a lot in common.
Yeah. No worries. I'm absolutely that guy that collected sort of mid-90s, early teenage years. I spent all my money that I earned from doing paper runs and everything on cards. I don't know where the fascination from cards came from. I just started getting packs and getting into it. I didn't really know what I was doing, what I liked. I was a big Manchester United fan sort of back then. And basically just sort of started across a whole different genre of sports as well, like NHL, a bit of soccer, I don't know where it came from. I just sort of started. I lived in a very small town, so it was always sort of something to do. And I think it came from some of my other mates that were doing it, and I just sort of followed along and stuff like that. So I grew up in a really small town, or sort of during my intermediate sort of years in a place that was like 3,000 people. So me and about 5 of my friends, we all collected a separate player each. So it was much easier to trade, and then we just sort of bought packs and sort of stuff like that. And it sort of just started from there. So typical started when I was a teenager, put them away in boxes, brought them back out. Everyone's seen everything online, like, I've just brought these folders out from my mum's place in the attic. I don't know how much they're worth. And I did exactly the same. One, and we'll get into this shortly, but one particular card sparked my interest. I'd obviously been away from card collecting for a very long time and just been back into it in the last 2 to 3 years. But one card in particular got me back into it. And it was the typical, saw something on Facebook. The internet's only been around since the late 90s. So when things started getting bigger, like with the National and stuff like that, inherently you start watching videos, and stumbled across a card that someone suggested could be worth a lot of money. And I'm like, hang on, I might have that card sitting in a binder somewhere, like everyone does, hoping that it might be a Jordan rookie. But no, it was actually a David Beckham rookie. And
cool.
It was traditional, like pack fresh, but I was 13. It was 1995, 96, sort of around then. I had no idea what, I don't know about penny sleeves and all that sort of stuff. But when I first started collecting, I just somewhat knew to put cards I liked into a penny sleeve and then into a 9-page binder. And then those sat in the binder inside a box throughout wherever my mum ended up living. And she just carried them around for like 25 years. So I was like, I think I might have that David Beckham rookie. So I went up to mum's, found all the cards, pulled them all out. Lo and behold, boom, there she was.
Wow. Well, I must say, we haven't done it. A shout out to the mums and dads who hold on to our collections for years, man. It's something.
Oh, I've heard so many stories of, I've got back in touch with all my friends. So like I said, like when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, there was like 6 of us. One of them was like Scottie Pippen. He, like every Scottie Pippen that you pulled, wow, you would go to him. He was your guy. And I'm talking we're talking a small college, man. We're like card collectors. I could name them on 2 hands, the amount of card collectors I knew. it was like, there's like one guy that was all about Jordan. I had heaps of Shaq. So I had probably, before I was 18, I probably had a collection of about 300 different Shaquille O'Neal cards.
No, wow.
Another mate of mine had like all these Jordans. Another one who loved playing basketball, more like a 3-point shooter. Sort of, he played during school. I didn't. I was too busy playing hockey and soccer and stuff. He was like all about Reggie Miller, and then I had another
Yep.
mate, Daniel, that was like right into Penny Hardaway and stuff. So whenever we would pull something, we would just trade amongst each other and just build up each of our PCs, and it became, even back
That's
then
really cool.
in the 90s, it's like I didn't know about PC and stuff like that. I just was just like, man, Shaq's breaking backboards, like, and I was
Yeah,
all
cool.
of 4 foot tall and probably about 55 kilos for me. And, seeing this big guy breaking backboards, I was just like, man, I'd love to be like him one day, sort of thing. So I
Yeah,
started
that's
collecting
fun.
him, and I think just naturally it just became this division between the players and amongst our friend group, that it was just like he's that guy and he's that guy, and like so, and then all of a sudden it's just like Shaq's just started turning up at my house, and I was just like trading for them, and we would play this in my driveway. We had a basketball hoop like in the front of my garage, no backboard. It was just mounted to the front of the garage. It had a very small
Gotcha.
lip. It was the lip was probably only about a foot above the hoop. So if you were a little high, it would just go on the roof of the garage. There was like I say, there's no big backboard or nothing. And we measured out with chalk. We used to play this game, and it was called Basketball for Cards. So we would turn up with all our folders, and we'd literally just have our own free throw line, and we'd just be playing different competitions. And I actually built a lot of my collection just from basically free throw competitions,
That's so cool.
and we just had cards everywhere, all over the steps of my mum's house, right out to the driveway, just cards all lined up. We're talking inserts and everything, and we were like, yeah, I'll put these up against those and those up against that, and we ended up just basically like winning cards like that amongst trading as well.
Yeah,
So
very cool. That's
yeah,
so cool. I
cool
really
times,
like
cool
that game.
memories thinking about it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. It's good.
And we'll get into the New Zealand National Card Collectors Show in a sec. But maybe
Yeah.
you should set up a basketball hoop outside, basketball for cards, and have a free throw
Oh,
shooting competition there. That would be amazing.
but it was just something you did back then, eh? Like
Yeah, that's
inherently,
right.
Kiwis are just all about, like I used to play the hours and hours. Like I was talking to you earlier before we got going, I used to play days, weeks during the summer playing backyard cricket, like BYC. I was all about it. I was talking to you about, I had my painted yellow pads. I was born in Australia, and um, I got Kiwi parents and stuff, but that's where my love from mid-90s cricket came from, and Aussie cricket and stuff like that. Slight segue, and um, we played soccer in the backyard, we played cricket in the backyard, we played basketball in the driveway. Like it's just sort of how it was, and you always you're hustling as well, right? So if you're good at something, you hustle
Yep,
it. So
yep.
I was sort of good at the free throw thing. It was at my house, so I had home court advantage. So
It doesn't quite match. I mean, you're a good free throw shooter and you collect Shaq.
yeah, yeah. But I was like too short to even hit the rim. Like I couldn't jam. I
That's
couldn't.
also
I
true.
couldn't get a. I couldn't get a dunk to save myself. So, but oh yeah, so many good memories thinking about it now. But all of those friends, all of those guys that are all collecting all that stuff, they either had the cards, like you were saying. Shout out to parents. They've all been given away. They've lost them, sold them many, many moons ago. Like when you come back into this thing and you're a bit more wily and you're a bit more of an older collector, you reach out to, where could these little gems be? And I knew of one folder that was full of Jordans that would have had gold medallions. It would have had number crunch, like you name it, heaps of 90s inserts in. His family had given them all away without him knowing, because he moved to Aussie. Life went on, blah blah blah. You know, he went back to his parents' place to try and find them. There was like a couple of pages left, and the folder had gone somewhere. So a lot of amazing like the 90s inserts just went off, and he had, like, you name it, he had them. Like intense
Wow.
medallions,
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, some real special stuff, some cool stuff. So yeah, so I'm sort of like, because my mum kept my cards,
Hmm.
I've sort of come back into it, and I've got a bit of a leg up. I've got all my
Yeah,
collections
great.
still left, which I'm
Yeah,
quite
great.
lucky about.
Yeah.
Um,
I never got any I never, when I looked through my collection, and shout out to my dad who kept them all. In fact,
yeah.
when I first went through and started looking at my collection again, he could only find half of them, and I'm like, man, I was so mad. But I was like, at the end of the day, like, you're old enough to be able to take care of your own cards, you know what I mean? So I couldn't really get that upset. And what ended up happening was he ended up finding the other half anyway. So he had half of the set, the cards that I had, one folder, but
Mm,
there were two other folders missing,
mm.
and we ended up finding them. They were with my auntie. He had
Oh
he
yeah,
had
nice.
given them to her in the meantime, and he'd just forgotten about it. But at least she still held onto them. So I
Yeah.
never got any monster card from that, unlike others. But I did get a Kobe rookie and an Iverson rookie because I had that Upper Deck SP set that I had. I
Oh
had I
yeah,
had that
nice.
entire set, and
Yeah.
that's a nice little rookie card to kind of just go. Well, I don't need to be looking for that one. I've got it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's sort of easy come, easy go, isn't it? Like you're collecting when you're a kid. Like, we're talking earlier about the Wheatbix cards. It's like, you if you sort of only knew what you knew now back then, you would have just
Hmm.
kept. I would have kept everything. Like I had
Yep.
Ninja Turtle sets and Batman Returns, and I had all the stickers and the money, and I had Ghostbusters, and like all of these iconic sets that I
Yeah.
from memory sold at a garage sale when I was probably about 7 or 8. And sort of think back now, and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to get them back again, as
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
replacement to sort of, a bit of a nod to the old school sort of card collecting and some of the famous movies and things you grew up watching when you were a kid. But um, I've got a couple of these. I've got this is the card here.
Oh,
Actually,
nice. Yeah. Cool. Is it a
so
9?
yeah, it's a 9.
Great.
So
Think about all
this is
those years you've held onto it, man, to get a 9 is,
yeah, yeah.
like you
And
said,
I
straight into a penny sleeve, into a
yeah,
9 sleeve page. Great.
yeah, and I had it graded last. Got it back from PSA last year. Um, I don't know, people that are listening that are probably from the Manawatu area. There was a lady, and her name was Betty. I can't remember Betty's husband's name, but Betty was the lady that was filling probably all throughout the Manawatu, Palms North, Martin, Fielding. She was from Levin. She would come and fill up all the card crazy machines, so that we're all in the
Oh,
video
wow.
easies. So Martin had a video easy. So Martin's about 10k north of Bulls. We had a video easy, like rent movies the old school way, and it had obviously had a card crazy vending machine in there. So she used to come
Cool.
in like first thing Saturday morning, and she'd fill up the machine. And she would obviously she was like one of the OG breakers. So she was obviously filling up the machines with singles, everything in the penny sleeves and stuff, putting packs in, you name it. But of course, because she's breaking the packs, she's obviously finding all the inserts. So inside a folder, she had, and just with those little round dots and stuff, those little yellow,
Mhm.
orange dots and things, she
Yep.
just had all the cards individually priced, and
Wow.
this is like a mobile card show. So I'd be
Oh,
one of one
wow.
or two people that would turn up in Martin, and she would just pull out inserts, and I'd just be like, "Oh, cool! How much is that? $8 or whatever." I'd be like, "Okay," and I just spent all my paper run money on it. So that there, I definitely remember that there coming from a pack, but This one here, that's Pop 5, that's PSA 9.
No.
So this one here, this is a golden moment, 1998. It's probably a bit hard to see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's Pop 5. It's probably sitting anywhere around about, could be anywhere between 1,000, 3,000 New Zealand dollars. Booker,
Wow.
Beckham rookie, maybe 1,000, something like that. That
Wow.
that one there, I bought from her, and I do remember that. I didn't pull that from a pack.
Oh, that's
So
pretty. That card. That's pretty. That's shining real good. You got the light perfect there. Wow.
yeah, so that's really hard to, because of the foil surface. It's not as robust as like the new Prism NBA. You know, the new Prism NBA, you can like really give it a reasonably good scratch and it's okay.
Hmm.
These ones here, you can almost blow on them and it puts a scratch on them. Like they're really, yeah,
And so you
it's
got a
really hard.
9 for that one too.
Got a 9 for that one because it was the same
Wow.
thing. I bought it. So Betty had put it into a sleeve and put it straight into the binder. I bought it straight out of the binder, took it home, put it in my binder. So
Wow.
um, I think maybe I've touched it in real life, but yeah. And so that was like some of the cool things back then, and that's how I managed to get quite a lot of really special sort of inserts because she was breaking them out of packs, keeping them out
I'm
of the
really
machine,
jealous,
and
man.
and
I'm really
hustling them on the
jealous.
side. That's
I'm
how
really
she.
jealous. We never had a Betty. We never had a Betty at our Video Easy. So I would often go to Video Easy and buy cards too. And you'd have all of the videos to the right, and then you'd have the card crazy machine. And
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
you, but I
yeah,
didn't have a paper run. I wasn't earning any money, so I would literally just scrounge around the house and just pile together the cents and coins and all that sort of thing until I had
yeah,
like $5 or $3, and I'd go up
yeah.
to the Video Easy store and I put all of this loose, shrapnel into the machine
But
and get a
I don't
get a
know. I
pack.
don't know about. I don't know about you, but I was just like, there's so many. There's so much awesome stuff that you can, as a teenager, as a young teenager, like 13, 12, 13, 14. There's so much cool stuff that you could be buying with your money. I
Hmm.
ended up buying around that same sort of era. I bought a Shaquille O'Neal singlet, like a proper legit one. I bought
Nice.
the same shirt that David Beckham's in there. I bought the short sleeve version of that from Sterling Sports in Palmerston North. I've still got it. It's hanging in my wardrobe
Wow.
right here in this room here, and I don't know what it was back then. I don't know what sort of drew me to the cards and the everything else. Like, it's like one day I woke up and I was just like, oh, I'm going to collect some cards, and I just started
Wow.
collecting some cards. It was random. I had plenty of other cool stuff to be doing, but and a lot of my mates were like, "What are you doing? Like buying these little bits of cardboard, like little plastic things?" And they were just like, "Mate, just spend it on girls and good time. Going to Palmy and like just splashing it on stuff." And even my mum, I think, was just a bit like, "You're putting all this money into cardboard." And then I was just like, "Well, I saw that." I saw a PSA 9 version of PSA. No, it was their Australian grading company. I'm not sure who they are. They had
Okay.
they do the
CGA, I
increments
think,
of
right?
100. Yeah, so it was a 95, which is probably a 9.5, I suppose you'd
Yeah.
call it.
Sure.
They
Sure.
had one of those on sale for in eBay Australia for something like for quite a wee while, around the 18,000 Aussie mark. And here I am going, well, I've got one of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Wow. Wow.
so yeah. Hey, kudos to my 13-year-old self for investing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
had no idea.
and also just kind of, I guess, building that, I guess, trader mentality, like with you and Betty, and being able to meet up with her and go, so how much is this one, and understanding that she's probably the first one to teach you about there's a business side to it. Maybe I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but it feels
yeah, and
like
I
it.
got yeah, and that's where just we were talking earlier about that your Futura Elite box. So
Hmm.
you obviously had the XL cards out of both of those. Both of those sets. Then you had like the bigger, larger, longer cricket display cards that was like something that you would advertise. Yeah, that you would advertise like in the shop where you bought the cards from and stuff. So Betty would often give me a lot of that sort of stuff, or like the big XL cards
Cool.
of that elite set. I think there's 3 of them in that set. There's like Shane Warne and a Mark Taylor, I think, from memory, and something else.
Hmm.
So because I wasn't buying boxes, and I wasn't buying what do you call it? What do you call the boxes of the boxes? The
Cases? The cases?
case, yeah. Because I wasn't buying cases, I wasn't able to get all these big case hit, like 1 card per case type thing. But
Hmm.
Betty just turned up, and she sort of learnt what I wanted, and just brought me stuff, and it was like my own little private
Wow.
breaker. Like,
Wow.
so I don't have a whole heap of stuff like that, and I know a lot of other, people like Tammy Alexander and stuff like that. She's got a lot of the similar sort of stuff I've got, because she was once sort of associated with a shop and stuff, but I was never
Hmm.
associated with a shop. But I just managed to wind up with bits and pieces and some pretty cool little one-offs. But yeah, full credit to Betty from Levin, man. Like, yeah, she was sweet. She was good.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And then so from that childhood, and you got back into cards, and
Mm.
now you're a staple of the New Zealand card collecting community. I
Oh,
just want
staple.
to ask. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think so. Especially last year when you were one of the faces of the New Zealand Card Collectors Show, and
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
involved with it this year too. Do you want to
yeah.
just talk a little bit about this past year's show, and maybe tell us a little bit about what you guys are planning for 2025?
Yeah. So I first, a little bit of backstory, but I first went to the
Sure.
2023 show.
Hmm.
Um, I went there with my mate Janesh. So he's from
Okay.
Verified Insignia. We worked together at a department store for a number of years, and we have a bit of a family connection. I know his auntie quite well and things. I worked with her too, and that. We just sort of got up, and we got going, and we said, hey, let's do a table, and let's share one of your tables, and I'll sort of go neatly on the edge. And I sort of turned up, and I didn't really, I'm from a retail background, and I should have known better, in terms of how you show off your cards and things. I just basically went with a few piles of cards and a few slabs and bits and pieces, and just sort of went on the edge of the table and drank coffee for most of the day, and was hoping that my stuff would just rush off the shelf, so to speak. But it didn't. I didn't. I think I ended up giving away more than money that I made. But that was the hook. After sort of stumbling across these and getting my collection back together, I took all the cards out, replaced all the penny sleeves, replaced all the pages and stuff like that. And then, this is when the show came along. And then I saw such an amazing job that Steve Summers did in
That's right.
2023, single-handedly doing the whole show. I was just like, mate, this is insane. I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever done. Like, it was so good for the soul. It was like being transported back to when I was a teenager, hanging out with other adult teenagers. Like, that's
Yeah,
the love
I
of
loved it too, man. I loved
that's
it
the
too, and
love of the hobby.
yeah,
Because everyone's like, "Whoa, look at this! Oh, 101, oh, one," like going crazy, and you're like, "Mate, it's just a piece of cardboard inside a bit of plastic." But this is just what the hobby does, right? So I went to Steve and I said, "Hey, how do I get involved? I want to get involved. I've got a little bit of time." I said, "Look, I'm not a hardcore collector. I'm the typical like return to the hobby. I'm a dad, blah blah blah. Don't have a lot of surplus cash now. I just buy what I like and da da da." I said, "Yeah, but I can give you manpower. I can give you time. If there's something you want help with, let's go." So me and Janesh, actually, so from Verified Insignia, him and I, we joined together. I said to Steve, I said, "Look, Janesh. Janesh was a unique sort of fit for the sort of the three musketeers we ended up being. We were
Yeah.
coining ourselves because he was from the COA world. He was from the
Nice.
he was from
Authentication
the
world. Yeah.
a part of the show that I think we will go, like it's sort of where it's like a sneakerhead, right? Guys at all
Hmm.
these, we're all collectors of some description, TGC, sports cards, all this sort of stuff. We're all sort of, even as far as, almost like Comic Con and collecting comics and pop stop, all that sort of stuff. We're all sort of, we're all a collectible thing that we all love, right? So he was sort of dealing with his thing, and I said, "Look, come on board. We want you on board. You bring a unique angle to it." I know he'd also, because I'd worked with him personally. I knew that he'd be really good, and he'd bring a lot of skills to the team.
Yeah.
And basically, we got going for the 2024 card show, and it was extremely. I won't say fly by the seat of our pants, but it was a truly evolving. We were the frontier of large multi, variety card shows in New Zealand. We just do TGC, we just do NBA, we just do sports. It's like we wanted to do everything for everyone. So we were just constantly evolving as the months went on, and then you sort of saw the end result of that at the end of May of this year.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing, and it was my first real big card show. Let's say I'd been to a couple
Mm,
of little showings with maybe three vendors,
mm,
which is something. It's cute. It's maybe there's a little bit of charm to that, but you summed it up really well when you said it was real soul food. It just felt
mm,
so good to be hanging out with card collectors who are really, really good people. You know what I mean? So
mm,
the first day
mm,
that I got there, Steven had invited me to his place. Now he's never met me in person before. He's come
yeah,
onto the show and talked to
yeah,
me, but he's like, "Look, Will,
yeah,
you're going to come down. I've got to invite you over. Come over to my place. We have a couple of drinks. We'll talk about
mm,
cards." And so that's where it all
mm,
started for me. And I'm just like,
yeah.
"Oh my goodness!" And the first day was amazing, and then we go to the Sunday, and it's just this full day, and I was really lucky to become a vendor there too. So I
Mm.
wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, I want to film for the channel. I want to experience it as a guest.
It's a
But
double-edged sword, eh? It's a double-edged
yeah,
because I was a
yeah,
vendor as well, but all you want to do is buy, bro. That's all you want to do
yeah,
is buy. But
yeah.
you need sellers for buyers, and you need buyers for
That's right.
sellers, right?
That's right.
So some of us,
That's right.
unfortunately, have to sell. Some of
Yeah.
us
And
have
that's
to
and
buy.
that's what I
And
did. And
yeah,
and I say I actually got my wife to do most of the selling for the day. So
yeah,
I kind of got the best of both worlds because I set up with the vendors, and so we had that extra hour and for everybody else when it was empty, and I'm looking
that's
around and checking things
that's
out was
that's
perfect.
what that's what you need. I think you need to like dial in your table and dial in your stock, have it all priced, and then have someone else run it while you spend the whole day recruiting more stuff for your PC. So you got someone else making the cash over here, and you're busy scouting for the deals. But that's why we came like the golden hour that we had for vendors only prior to the show is a spin-off to something that when Janesh and I were working in Staines, which is a large department store that was on Lambton Quay for like over 140 years. It was a spin-off from we used to have a staff before the big renowned annual sales at Kirk's that were world famous. There would always be a staff buying morning on the first day,
Great, great.
and that would basically be so all the staff could get around because everyone's going to be run ragged for a whole week selling at the exactly like how the card show worked out. So I
Yeah,
said to Janesh and Steve, I said, let's do an hour so you can get in there and get set up and you can get round and have a look at everything. you can network and say hi to the lads, and that's why we had the drinks at Brewed the night before. You get your network sort of going, and then if there's anything that you really stuck out, I bought from Tammy in the morning. I bought
Me
3
too.
Shane Warne rookie cards. You know,
Awesome.
yeah, $3 each.
Wow.
Stoked. Uh,
Wow.
um,
Wow.
amazing. Like, where do you find 3 all in one spot?
Yeah,
And the New Zealand's.
I got a Session Tendulkar rookie card from her. It was
Oh
the World
yeah.
Cup Warriors one. It's just like, oh, I've
Oh
been
yeah. You
looking
got that on.
high
You got
and
that on the
low for that.
Saturday. Eh? That was a good
Yeah,
score.
I've been
That.
looking high and low for that, and I was just like, oh man, I've been waiting for this card. Been looking
Yeah.
everywhere for it, and people are
Yeah.
asking the moon for it. And I'm just like, oh, how much do you want for it? And I would have paid it. I would have paid it twice that, but she's like, no, that's my price. I'm like, perfect. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so happy.
It was great. So yeah, we had that hour in the morning, and that was really good. That was really good. I think but it was just not long enough. And then you saw the aftermath of that. The doors swung open and basically knocking people out, and it was
Yeah,
like a stampede for everything. And then for the next solid 4 hours, the place was just vibing so hard that it was like, yeah, you just loved being there, like the whole thing. And that,
it was cool,
you know,
man. It was real cool. Yeah. I just
oh
what I
yeah,
liked about this show was the variety. I think you're
mm,
not going to find that kind of variety in many card shows that you go to. I mean, even the American National, you're not going to find a lot of the cards that they have there. Maybe you
no,
would get
yeah,
some of them at the London one because the
yeah,
rugby and the cricket stuff.
yeah.
As much as people say you can get rare stuff at the National, the
Mm.
cricket and rugby stuff is not easy to come by.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
loved seeing the
yeah.
cigarette cards. I mean that I can't remember who was that first seller, but he had like 4 tables there. He had
Oh,
some
yeah,
wicked
yeah.
stuff.
And
Yeah,
that's come from the card club that Steve Summers has
that's
been a
right.
part of for quite a long
That's
time.
right.
That's sort of they're sort of Kapiti based, and it sort of started off with them, and Steve was like, let's do a show in sort of 2022, and then 23, 24, and then coming up 25, which we're calling sort of the fourth edition. So. Um, it's come from very, very humble beginnings where Steve did an incredible job. Basically, got sort of lumped with the responsibility of sort of doing something, and
Yeah,
he's infused the excitement and passion for the hobby into others, and it's just like a snowball now. It's just rolling down the hill, mate.
he really is perfect for that role. He's really perfect for that role, and I think all of you guys
Yeah.
do a really great job of advertising the show, making the show accessible for collectors.
Mm.
I mean, a free entry to a card show is basically almost unheard of most of the time these days. Free
Yeah, and
entry,
that's
but and on top of that, it's cheap for vendors. Like, I think if the price had been considerably higher, I wouldn't have thought about it. And so I was like, look, I've got these cards that I want to sell, and they were ice hockey cards, and I know nothing about them, but I bought this giant lot of them, and I was like,
mm,
I might as well organize them, set them up, and sell them. And so that's why I decided to become a vendor at the last minute. Steve just sends, I sent Steve a message, I think maybe 2 weeks before the show started. And I was like, Steve, if there's a possibility, do you have a spare table? And he's like, well, you could not have timed it better. It was
mm,
like, someone's
mm,
just pulled out and I've got a spare
mm,
table for you.
mm.
So it was just the right timing. And it was really fun to be a vendor too, because you could interact with people and you see them when they're looking through their cards, and when they find something they like, they're like, whoa, to see that reaction, you understand it, and you can, and you feel that same excitement that they do too, which is really cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people like you don't need to have you don't need to have real super high end slab LeBrons and like
Yeah.
like signed Wayne Gretzky's and all, like people come in and they're like they'll be like, yo man, like me, I'm trying to chase the emotion set, like who's my boy? Bloody Phil Bell, go and see him. He's like 50 cents each. He's like, knock your socks
Wow.
off. So I've got the whole 100, like the Skybox Emotion set. I've got the whole set. It's a 120 card set. But mounted on my wall in my hallway right here is the first
Hmm.
100. By far,
Wow.
for me, in terms of sets, for basketball sets, hands down the best set for me. I think the photography is amazing. There's no background crap. There's no crowds and this and that. It's just the player. It's just one word that sums them all up. So there it is there.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
They're all up there, and it's beautiful. The cards are thick. They don't bend. They're not warped or anything. They're super flat. So, like the hardwood leader set, they're thick.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just
Are
all
they?
mounted
Their
in here.
motions are thick too, huh?
Yeah. They're the
I
they're
do
like
like
the
that thick
intense
card stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and it's just, and I went hunting them, the first year that I was
Nice.
there. It's like there's people there hunting everything. And for the card show for us was just like, we're a card show. We're not the NBA card show. We're not the sports card show. We want to be the card show that everyone wants to come to, the card show. Like,
Cool.
rugby and all sorts and in it. So we got some awesome plans for this year coming. I think 2024, I think for a lot of people saw the evolution of sort of what a big card show can look like in New Zealand when you start,
Mm-hmm.
we were 38 tables deep in the Whirinaki building there in Upper Hutt in May, and we had absolutely maxed it out. Like, we were done. Like, that hall,
Yeah.
I can't...
There was
I
no
don't
more
know how,
space. That's true. Yeah, it was
there's no
full.
more. And we had trading space, and we had this and that, and there was a lot more we wanted to do, and we couldn't, and we had a lot more ideas up our sleeves, and we, of course, didn't divulge a lot of things that we were planning on doing because we just didn't have the space.
Yeah.
Whereas this time round, 2025, mate, I tell you,
How big is that space? Because it looks massive.
I'm not going to go into too much detail, of course, because
Yeah.
it's hey, it's not hard. You can easily research it online, but hint hint. But it's big. There's a side hall. There's a side hall off that side hall. There's a commercial kitchen in there. There's a stage
Wow.
big enough for having a considerable show in there that the Wellington Indian community do quite often.
Cool.
There's free parking, a lot of free parking. That was a big issue we had in Upper Hutt. So we had in amongst all the vendor packs, I think you got one. There was a feedback form in there, and Card Crazy were very kindly, they gave us a voucher that was just for the vendors, and we had a private vendor raffle, like draw, for the vendor feedback. So that was a way for us to give back to you guys, and it was also a way for us to build for 2025. And it was a bit of a sneaky way, but that's how we did it. So we got a lot of feedback from there. So we've listened, and I tell you what, the wheels are in motion already, my man, and we're only a few months in. We've still got many, many, many months to go, and we're already...
You are going to launch in April next year, is that right?
Yeah, so we're looking, 27th of April, so it's Anzac weekend, so it'll be an extra day off for a lot of people, and it'll be the chance, the idea of doing it over that particular weekend was to have the out-of-towners to be able to come in and to find accommodation, and really, if they want to, they can go, let's turn the weekend into a really big Wellington weekend, and you can stay in a couple of places and do some awesome stuff in the capital
and that's
city.
Something else. That's something else about the venue. It's right at the bottom of town. It's not in Upper Hutt, which, I mean, I've really liked the venue in Upper Hutt. I really liked Upper Hutt. I really love that brewery behind it. But the location for this one is like right in the middle of town. It's great.
Yeah. So Kilburnie is located just between sort of Hitaitai and sort of where Miramar would start. So it's right next to the airport, and it's, I would say, anything between a $10 to $15 Uber ride from the airport. So it
Perfect.
means all of those people like, oh, I'm in Christchurch, I'm in Dunedin, I'm in
I'm in
Auckland, I
Auckland.
want to come to the
Yeah.
card show. It's like literally you can the bus doesn't go past the community hall, but the Wellington Indian Association Hall, but it'll go very close. So you could even
Hmm.
get the bus from the airport. It goes to
Cool.
Kilburnie, um, so you can literally fly in and you could fly out the same day and still be a part of the show. I think for some, it was all well and good if you were from Upper Hutt. Um, but I think there were a lot of people that were like, oh, I'm in Wellington, I can't get up there for the day. And, it was a bit of a drive here. And, so what we did is we sort of brought it back down closer to the airport because we know there's going to be a lot of guys coming in from Christchurch. They're going to be coming down from Auckland, stuff like that, because we want the whole card community in New Zealand to be involved. We don't want
Hmm.
just the greater Wellington. So we're like, how are we going to do it so that it would be basically we're always constantly thinking when we're thinking about anything to do with the show is always the vendor, is always the
Cool.
people we want to come and bring their stuff because that's what's going to make it awesome. The buyers are always going to come, right? But we want the vendors to come, the sellers. That's the
Hmm.
national. That's how they do it. They just get everyone in that wants to sell, and then you can network to your heart content. And we're like, what's going to make it easier for them? You know, what's going to make it easier for guys like Philip Bell that need to fly back the night in between the show to do a gig in Auckland and then fly back down? I don't think a
Yeah. Right.
drive an hour up the road. So they were just some they were just some things we were thinking about. We've obviously got visitors that had come over from Australia for the show. Um, what's going to suit them. The whole time we're thinking about that, but we're still not forgetting about the little guy. We're not forgetting
Cool.
about people like me that just want a table and just have a few hundred cards.
Yeah.
Or
Me
the
too. That'd be me as well.
yeah, yeah, because it's like, yeah, you got Tammys and the Philip Bells and all of these guys, Blunt, Raz Kings, all these massive, massive companies, top play sports cards and stuff, repping the big collections and stuff like that down here in the hut. But yeah, we wanted to be able to let's say dad and son wanted to come to the show and they were in Hamilton or something and like jump on the plane and come down for the day. Like, why do
Hmm.
you need to sort of throw in rental cars and all this and trains and so that's the thought process right there. Well,
Cool.
making
Yeah.
it
No,
easy.
it makes complete
Yeah,
sense. I
yeah,
think, as you said, it's something that's continuously evolving and it's improving, and you're listening to the vendors a lot, and you're listening to collectors too, which is cool, and
yeah.
it
Because
makes for a
these
great time.
Yeah, the vendors have got a lot more knowledge than, especially me. Like for Janesh and Steve, and our new fourth musketeer, D'Artagnan. His name is Shane from Top Play Sports Cards. He's come on board. I really like Shane's style and stuff. So, he's come on board. So we're up to the four of us now, and it's that's sort of ultimately, what we were wanting to do, is to sort of be constantly sort of thinking of everyone as we sort of went, moved on, sort of evolved and stuff like that. You say.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great. I'm very excited about next year's show. I'm not sure if I can make it, but you never know. If I can get there, and if there's a chance,
Oh, we'll just beam you
I
in,
might
bro.
have
We'll
to
just
look at
beam
it.
you in. You'll just be live. You'll just be
Yeah,
coming in. We'll,
yeah,
we'll get you there.
yeah,
Someone can
yeah.
like
That's
walk
all.
around with a little phone going, Will, do you want to buy this? Will, do you want to buy that? It's like, yeah, 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 I'll buy that, I'll buy that. You can leave some stuff behind, mate. We'll sell it for you.
There you go. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
lots of ways to
yeah.
be involved. It's true.
Oh,
Are you
yeah,
going to do
man.
like a live stream at least? Then at least I can get in on a
Oh,
live stream.
God, mate. You ain't seen nothing yet, I can tell you.
Nice, nice one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very good. Hey, mate. So what I was thinking is we could. maybe we could get a few more card stories out of you. And first, I must admit, I really like the story of Betty. Can you tell me a little bit more about her and anything else that you remember about her as a dealer back then? Like, it's just so unique, man. I mean, I never had anything like that in my experience in Auckland, but I guess small town stuff. There's opportunity for all sorts.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few, a few others, from Manawatu, Levin sort of area, probably around about my age as well, and they all remember a woman that would drive around and sort of do this sort of thing. So she was obviously, I don't remember if she was ever, um, she didn't have a shop. I only remember as basically like breaking cards and stuff like that at home. And then, yeah, no worries. And then she would basically, from there, she would go around all the different shops and sort of things like that. She'd go around all the different shops and basically fill the machines up from like boxes and stuff like that from the back of her car. And she was like my grandmother. She was like, I was like 12 or 13 years old. Betty must have been 65, 70 probably. She came in
Wow.
with her husband. Yeah, they were just they were just like the people you would just wouldn't think that would be doing that. Like, and
That's
they'd be in there and they'd be putting all the cards in and we got to unlock it's a small town, bro. This is like how it is, It was like
yeah.
opening up the card crazy machine, would be giving her help, handing her cards while she's busy like putting them all in and just
Wow.
taking all the money out of the machine and all right there happening. This remind you was happening. The card crazy machine at the Video Easy in Martin was like directly to the right hand side of the front door. So when Betty would turn up, we would like on Saturday morning, people coming in to get VHSs and videos and stuff, or return. A lot of the time was returns, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Returning
yeah.
the videos from Friday night. We would be in there like these little kids in a candy store, like with our milk money, pretty much
Yeah.
buying cards out of this. Like, God rest your soul, Betty, loved you, but old ladies ring binder just pulling but she had everything. She had it. She just it was like
So
these just
gangster, man.
pages of gems. Like she's obviously just pulling them out of boxes and just selling the inserts on the side. Like I don't know.
Amazing.
I don't know. Tell me when the last time you ever saw an insert sitting in a card crazy machine. Never happened.
Wow.
But she had a folder, and I tell you, mate, the thing used to sparkle. Used to like open up, and you just be like, "Where? I need more money. I need to go find more money. I got to come back." And yeah, she just had all sorts of stuff, just all sorts of stuff. But yeah, a lot of soccer, lot of definitely a lot of NBA. Goes without saying.
Mhm.
But yeah, she had a little bit of Aussie cricket and stuff like that. But that's sort of I'm probably still am maybe only one of a few people I know that actually even still sort of collect Aussie cricket. But I've sort of kept my collection. I've definitely put a start and an end era stop to my collection because it's a
Okay.
slippery slope, as you know, Will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I'm like 93 to sort of 98, 99. And that's basically when I collected as a kid. And when I stopped collecting. So I only collect the stuff that I collected when I was a kid. That's, unless I see something awesome that I really like. But I just collect that era. If I decide to collect this era, then yeah, I'd basically have no money. So, I have to stop somewhere. But
Well, I was going
that's
to
Betty.
say,
Betty is awesome.
yeah, Betty's amazing. Betty's amazing. I'm a big fan, man. I wish I had a
Yeah.
Betty growing up now.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hard.
What I
Yeah.
was what I was thinking when you were saying like you have a start date and a stop date to your collection. When you
Yeah.
said 93, I was like, great, affordable. Thing about, and then when you went 90, I went, ooh. So 97, 98 for basketball in particular is really pricey. But those cards in 98
Yeah.
I think might be the best year of in terms of the quality of the product, man. I mean, I think it was the
Yeah,
one of the last year that Topps did basketball cards, and they were stunning, stunning.
yeah. There's just something about, and you'll talk to everyone that's been collecting through the '90s era. There's a lot of, I think, a lot of guys obviously collecting modern stuff because it's got a lot of money in it, and there's a lot of variation. The variance of one card is just insane, like orange this and cracked ice that, and that, I can't even keep up, man.
Hmm.
Whereas sort of back then it was just like, we were talking earlier obviously about that Shane Warne hat-trick card, right, out of the
Yeah,
95, 96 Futura set.
that's right.
That's a pull rate of that is 1 in 666 packs. Yeah, that's it.
That's the box,
So
yeah.
yeah, and it's that's full, everyone, too, by the way. That's full. Will's going to be
Yeah,
ripping that
that's
hard
right.
later. Yeah,
That's
keep
right.
up to date. There'll be hopefully some cool stuff in that. So Shane Warne, hat-trick card,
Yeah, that's what we're
uh,
hoping for, mate.
500, I think, population of them were. One
Wow,
in every 666 packs. But yeah, I just think the era of those cards, I think, are cool, and I think a lot of people remember
I agree.
back. Modern stuff's cool, but they go, "Oh, there's nothing like the '90s, nothing like the '90s." And even for me, living in the '90s, mate, was awesome, and cards were
I
just as
agree.
good,
I
man.
agree.
And the
I
player
agree.
and the basketball and how hard they played, and just the physicality versus sort of how the game is now. Uh, yeah, it sure was
Especially
a
since
different
you, I
time.
mean, you say that, and you're a Shaq collector, so you get it, man. Like Shaq was just like this physical
Oh,
specimen that just could not be so. Like guys are like grabbing him, holding him down. He's just ragdolling them off, like get off me, you little half size of me center, and just dominate,
yeah,
man.
but
He was
you just
incredible to
had
watch.
such amazing players back then, like Muggsy Bogues, like
Yep.
he's all 3.5 feet and nothing, and like just and he's insane. Obviously, Jordan, like yeah, like the Bulls era, the through the mid '90s, like watching
Hmm.
them just wrap up championship after championship, like him, Rodman, Pippen, like Kukoc, and just yeah, that was the era. That was when I was wagging school to watch NBA. That was the NBA I was watching. Like that
Sounds like
was
we're doing the
cool.
same things, mate. I was doing exactly the same because
Oh,
obviously,
everyone was
your
wagging
finals
school to
games.
watch the playoffs.
That's right.
Oh,
Finals
and we
games
were
would
just
be
in, and we were just in
lunchtime
New
at school.
Zealand. We were so
Yeah,
far removed from Chicago. It wasn't funny,
yeah,
but it was just like Jordan's playing. Everyone's like wagging school.
that's
Playoffs are
totally right, mate.
on. Yeah, it was. Oh, mate, it's just crazy. And being in a small town too, it's very yeah. NBA was like quite big. Sort of
Yeah,
followed by
cool.
a lot of my mates and stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, cool. That's great. And do you want to
yeah.
tell us a few card stories, man? Because I asked you to just show us a few more. I love the Merlin. I love the Beckham cards you showed us already.
Yeah,
Amazing,
yeah,
man.
yeah. So yeah, I got him there. So I think a few people, hopefully a few listeners here in New Zealand, remember when Aaron Broad from Christchurch was doing PSA submissions. Um, he did the first sort of couple for me, and for me, it's been a contentious issue about having PSA slab stuff. For me, it was like PSA were really big back in this era, so I
Hmm.
wanted the slab to match the era. So it was either ever going to be PSA or BGS for this card because they
Okay.
were the two big players back then. I
I
wasn't going
actually
to
like
send
that
it
you
to
chose PSA.
SGC or anything.
I like that you
Yeah,
chose PSA mainly because the color and the border, man. It really matches that Manu red as well.
yeah. For me, it was just like if I had have slabbed it back when I was a teenager, this is how it would have
Hmm.
looked. So I'm a
Yep.
little bit OCD. I've got a little bit of the like sort of something going on with matchy. So I've got that. I've got, of course, the Beckham rookie,
This
iconic.
is
A lot
Merlin
of
one, right?
people, yeah. So a lot of people remember how he scored that goal from just over halfway,
Yeah.
or just under halfway. It was. Um,
They put him on
so
the map. Yeah.
Yeah, long sleeve. It was all, there was all 90s retro. You know, this is him. He was playing in the number 10 shirt. So he had just joined Man United because Eric Cantona was still in the number 7, and he's my all time favourite, man. That guy, I love that fella. So um, he was playing in the 7. Eric left sort of a season or so after that, and David went from 10, playing a number 10 to number 7. So this shirt here is actually him in the 10, and of course a lot more shirts you see with the number 7. Um, this here for me, NBA, and everyone's going to be like, we'll just move this around just for a sec, and we'll just let Sarah out there for a second. This for me is, we've already talked about the emotion set. This is Jordan in the 9. I've already got 3 of these. I've got one more in this set. I've got no, this is the one for the set in the folder in my room.
Mm-hmm.
45 singlet, coming back. Yeah, I'm back, baby. Like, yeah, this is it. Like, for me, it was just such a nice, clean card, nice, simple. It's just got some nice sort of stats and bits and pieces on the back. That was another Aaron Broad submission back when he was doing it before Sam sort of took over. Another pretty special card, Will, that you haven't seen yet, that you'll probably salivate all over. This card here.
Oh, you got that one. That's
So
and
this
you got
is
the little, yeah, wow.
So 1996 Futura. So this here, out of the Decider set. This is the Frontliners. This is the first day issue as well.
That's what
So
it
this
was.
one
I can
here,
see the little stamp on the bottom. Yeah.
yeah, the little stamp down here.
Yeah.
So this here is PSA 10, and
Wow.
this is
Wow.
for PSA. This is Pop 1.
Wow.
That's the
Congrats,
only one.
man.
It's the
That's a
only one.
monster.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
monster.
and this here I bought from a guy called Craig Everest, who's
Okay.
a really, really big Aussie cricket card collector out of Australia. So
Okay.
I bought that sight unseen, shipped it over, got it graded, only one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's also another one that Aaron kindly organised that for me. This originally came slabbed without the frontliners. So the frontliners is almost like a subset within a subset.
Hmm.
So this being an insert, this is the first day issues are the subset of the inserts.
That's right.
So yeah, so what I ended up doing is that this came back from PSA, and of course didn't have first day issue on it. I put a photo up on one of these pages, and a guy sort of pointed out and he said, "Hey, look, PSA really need to recognise the fact that that's first day issue." So we actually sent this card all the way back to the States, and it got slabbed properly and came back.
Wow.
PSA, unfortunately, that's another little thing I had with PSA too. On the David Beckham rookie, they put the wrong date, but PSA was so good, they were like, "Yeah, all good." We sent it back. They put it down as the wrong date. So yeah, it's really hard to sort of see in the light. See, that's
Yeah,
rainbow
that's
as
okay.
well.
Yeah. What you can do is later on just send me through a couple of photos, and then I'll overlay
Yeah, I've
them
seen it. Yeah, you can. Yeah,
on
boom,
the
that's it.
video.
Um, Another really special card too is I bought a box a long time ago, 2004 Panini MotoGP cards,
All
so
right.
motorcycle racing. I've been involved with motorcycle ever since my first scooter, which my mum went halves with me when I was in Martin and as a teenager. So I did all my paper run on a scooter, right? Bought a scooter, and then inherently, fast forward a few years, and I find myself as a mechanic in the World Superbike paddock, and from then on, I was like, I want to go on. This was, I did 2 full seasons in World Superbikes, 2016, 2017. I was also there 2012, 13, and 14 for part years in the paddock doing various things for various teams. And I always wanted to get to the top echelon. So for that was MotoGP, prototype machines. So the motorcycle version of Formula One. Couldn't quite get there. World Superbikes is the production road bike modified to race bike sort of version of it. Couldn't get to MotoGP. Loved Kawasaki brand, loved fellow Kiwis and Australian riders and things like that. And one rider in particular, I really had quite a close sort of, just someone I sort of followed and really admired and just loved his tenacity and stuff like that. Was a rider called Anthony West. He's lives in Brisbane. Sort of full circle, which is going to be a strange sounding story, but I actually work for him now. So I'm a mechanic in a team called Addicted to Track, which is a team based out of Brisbane. We do all of the Australian Superbike series, and conveniently, and which is also amazing for me because I've never been able to truly work for a MotoGP rider. I have the luxury now of being able to work with an ex MotoGP rider, so it's sort of ticked a bit of a bucket list thing for me. But I work for him now, and I've got this. Yeah. So this is Panini. So Panini did MotoGP set 2003, 2004. They did 2 sets. This is Ant here. So I caught up with Ant again. And because I'd been racing in Europe and Ant's been racing in Europe and stuff, we already had a good relationship leading up to that. I saw him at the beginning of year in New Zealand when he wrapped up the New Zealand Superbike Championship. And I pulled this card out of, again, I just had these cards sitting around. These are, again, like that rainbow foils, probably quite hard to see, but I've seen your photo. Yeah. And I asked him to sign this. And I had Sam Kilgore Robinson sent this off after he sort of took on the PSA duties from Aaron. He submitted this to BGS. Now, it's one particular thing I really wanted from a couple of things, and then a nice little third thing that I didn't realise that was going to happen, but I really wanted the subgrades. Yeah. I really wanted to know what the condition of the card was, and then, of course, what the condition of the auto was on the front as well. And the other really nice thing is that I wanted to try what a BGS slab would look like. And then the other thing is the card in a BGS slab, the card is actually sitting in a penny.
Yeah, okay. So they leave the penny sleeve inside it too, huh?
Yeah. So the card's inside the penny. So I had Ant sign that at the beginning of the year, and we sent it off. So the card got a 9. And again, it's a rainbow foil surface. It's terrible for oils from your skin, and really, really bad. And did
it get a 9 for the Did it get a 9 for the edges too? It feels like those foils often have problems with chipping on the edges and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, corners 9, edges 9, surface 9, centering 8.5.
Huh.
So. That's just such a special card for me because, I work for that guy now,
cool.
I help fix his bike and make it run in the weekend for him to do race meetings on like that. I fly over to Australia and do that. So to have sort of that connection back from cards and then sort of the future and stuff like that is quite cool. And he's very sort of, nicely sort of signed it for me and stuff. I said to him, I said, you better sign it good, man. I said, you better sign it good because I said, they're gonna pick up on how good your signature is.
Yeah.
I said, because, it's funny, eh? It's like you watch the Nationals and stuff like this and you see like a lot of people, they'll have all the same card, or they'll be watching like John Cena or something like that signing a whole
That's
heap
right.
of posters,
It's
and he's
famous,
just
but
like,
he's not even looking. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, and then a lot of people are like, oh, because they want like the perfect centered card, and then they want the perfect color, and then they want the perfect edges, and then even the signature has to be perfect and the right shade of blue and the right, it's everything has to be so meticulous. And I said to him, I said, look, you got to do. I said, I don't draw all over the bike. I don't want it all over the bike. I said, just chuck it off to the side, but just make sure you do it solid. You don't half-ass it, sort of thing. Push
Well, I mean,
hard.
you have the luxury to
Make,
do that. I mean, most of the time you're just going to kind of give your card to go, please sign it nicely.
oh, I know. Yeah, but you see so many people that they'll take cards and they'll get NBA players to sign it, and they have three of them.
Yeah,
So they'll just sign, and then the best one becomes one they grade, right? And they just flick the other
yeah.
two or whatever. So yeah, he signed that. So that's really cool. I've got I've got a whole lot of heaps of other things as well. Nothing sort of hugely too special. Probably a lot of Aussie cricket cards. I should actually, we should actually sort of talk on a side on the side, sort of one night or something like that, so you can sort of have a look and see what I've got. But
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
yeah, I just like adding. So yeah, that's for me. And then just rolling on to next year's show, hoping to add some more
Awesome.
little
Awesome.
gems.
Hey, I got just two questions to close. The
Yeah, yeah.
first one is what do you think? Do you have any suggestions for how card collecting can improve? What would your wish be for card collecting in general for it to be like better for collectors?
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about it, and this is unfortunately just technology has brought it this way, is a lot of people do, and it's just out of geography, but a lot of people do online deals. And I just see so many people either getting ripped off, or the courier's like lost it, it's fallen out, it's been damaged, or things like, the money goes through and you don't get the card for like 3 weeks because old mate's been sitting on it for a week. And it's probably just more that, like back in my day, back when I was a teenager, you had a folder, I'd come over to your house, you'd have a folder, and we'll just swap and buy cards right then and there. Whereas now
Yeah,
it's like people can't do that. So they do it all online. And the only bad part to that is, yeah, of course, people get cheated and flogged and ripped off and stuff, and that's what I don't like. That's part of
yeah,
the hobby I don't like.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's really
um,
fair.
and
What?
and and that's why we want the show to be big and have a lot of people to come along and to trade in real life, because it's like the old ways of sort of doing it, I suppose.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it is the
Yeah.
best way. It is the best way that the personal in person trades. Hey, what?
Mm-mm-mm.
We don't want to finish on a negative, which is why I want to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
want to ask, what are your two favorite things about card collecting?
I think it's just meeting the one. The probably the biggest thing is just meeting people that are just as passionate about collecting little tiny bits of cardboard, and then putting a penny sleeve inside a top loader. Like, it's just the whole. It's a very it keeps your mind busy. It's a busy little hobby. And it's nice to sort of meet people that just love all the intricacies when it comes to it, all the variations of all the cards, all the. No doubt you've probably had Tammy Alexandra on your show. If not, you'll
I
get her
haven't. No,
on.
I'm gonna get her on for sure. I've
She
been thinking about
will.
contacting her recently, but yeah, she's a little bit intimidating in the sense that she knows so much. I'm like, whoa, let's just slow
She's an
down.
encyclopedia of
Yeah.
cards, and she just loves them. She just loves
Hmm.
everything about them. And and that's what it is. Like, from the little cigarette cards to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to brand new Prism to, even Prism football and stuff. one of ones, and one of ones have all become very in the last sort of decade, all become such the rate. There were no one of ones back. One of ones back in my day, bro, were misprints. Um, but it's meeting
Right.
it's meeting people that just love the hobby, love the cards, get just as excited as you do, and we're only talking maybe as spending a few dollars here and there, like three, like this set here. That set there is probably like a $50 set, probably $50 $100 set, maybe $1 each per card. But
Mhm.
I've got it mounted in a $400 frame because I just love the set so much. But that's card collecting right there, mate. Like, people are
That's
going to
right.
go, what?
That's right.
Why
That's
you got
right.
little bits of cardboard in a frame? Like, you're crazy.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, that's I love it. Yeah, just straight up love it. Yeah,
Perfect, man. Well, thank you for taking the time out to chat cards with me. I obviously really enjoyed doing this, and I loved your
yeah.
stories and sharing how you got started.
Yeah, no worries. So I hope there's a few other people out there that can sort of relate to being a
I
dad
think
like
so.
me and starting and then coming back to the hobby. But it's been so great coming back to the hobby, and I can't wait to put all my energy into next year's card show and be able to keep doing it with everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. All right, buddy. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for your time again, and we'll Hey, how do people get in contact with you? Do you have an Instagram account or a Facebook account? What's the best way to get in touch
No,
with
I'm
you?
on Facebook Monday to Friday and half day Sundays. I'm selling real estate, so you can find me. You can find me on there. So I'm a real estate agent for professionals here in Wellington City. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram with those. But yeah, Dan Playstead on Facebook. But like you say, a lot of people sort of know who I am, and you'll be able to find me through the 2025 New Zealand card show page. You can reach out to me there, or to the rest of us, and yeah, or just buy yourself a table, and I'll see you there in April.
Great idea. Great idea. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Okay, man.
All right.
Peace. Thanks a
See
lot,
ya.
Will. Cheers.
Bye.
All right, man. Thanks.